واحد زود الصوت هنا يا شباب، ازعجكم بالصوت. جاهزين ولا باقي؟ مستعدين؟ والله بس اركب انا عندي ما الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. من اللي ما يتكلم لغة عربية هنا؟ من اللي يتكلم لغة عربية؟ So this is the way of checking how people really going to respond to. You speak Arabic? So why are you here? Why are you here? They told you to be in English. Who said so? This is a misconception. That is about me. اللهم صل على رسول الله. صلى الله يسلمنا وإياكم ينفع بنا وبكم ووفقنا وإياكم للدعوة إلى سبيله. A short story that I'll bring my discussion with today in how to clear misconceptions through actions. I had a friend of mine, a Filipino. His name is, you know his name? Not Yusuf, Ibrahim. You think everybody is Yusuf because your name is Yusuf? Come on. So he's a welder, you know welder? So he worked with me one day to do some work. And he had a Nepali Hindu with him. His name was Kumar with a K. So Ibrahim, whenever it comes to Salat time, he would put everything away, say, Kumar, relax. I said, what are you doing? Say, I'm going to perform Salah. So I've been doing that for some time. Today he came to my house, said, Abdullah, assalamu alaikum. I said, alaikum assalam, good to see you. Say, you know Kumar? I said, yes, I know very well. He said, his name is Abdullah. I said, how did you do that? You know, those sometimes Hindu guys think that they have stubborn mind and they don't want to change. He said, I didn't do anything. I said, no, you did a lot. You clarified all his misconceptions about Islam. That Muslims are not dedicated people. That Muslims are hard to deal with people. That Muslims are not committed people. That Muslims are not generous people. They're terrorists. But he saw something different. You showed him what Islam really is. So he needed nobody to speak to him. And brothers and sisters, I say it clearly. If we show the practice of Islam in our behavior, the whole world will become Muslim. I mean it. Muslim, even if you don't say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. They could be closet Muslims. Just like an American friend that I had. A neighbor, Mr. Tanya Webb. Very big, but he was afraid of his wife. You know, those women are tough. Be careful. I said, I spoke with him, Tanya, what's going on? You look like a Muslim. He said, yes, but my wife. I said, what's wrong with your wife? I said, please don't shout. I don't want her to know that I'm closet Muslim. You know what closet Muslim is?
He hasn't come out of the closet.
He has not come out of the closet yet. He wanted to. And may Allah guide all of us. Today, just like my friend here, Mr. Joseph, he said, this is your old topic. I said, you see, old people bring old topics. So I'm coming with I don't have any other topic. Maybe I present it in a different way. But usually the same old topic. Who has involved in inviting non-Muslims here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Al-Israel, I'm very pleased to see you and all of you. Sheikh. Okay, so have they approached you with a misconception about Islam? Have anybody come to you? What did they say?
One popular thing is that we worship the moon god and take hadiths out of context.
Don't give me too many. I cannot take more than that, please. Okay? So they say, oh, because Brother Joseph is in New York, and there is a lot of propaganda, Christian propaganda, I don't know, but all Christians, most Christians are good people. Good people. Even most Jews are good people. Don't show this in the camera, please. So he brought a misconcept that usually brought about Islam, which is, this is moon god. No, we haven't heard of this. Do you worship the moon? Come on. Yeah, you do that, Muslims. You do. Okay? So you'll find sometimes very strange misconcepts. What do you mean by misconcept? What do we mean by misconcept? Misunderstanding? Some? Yeah, these reasons, yes?
False thoughts.
False thoughts. Okay? About Islam. Anything else?
Lack of ideas. Lack of information.
Okay. We'll go to this. I think it'll be going back and forth. Oh, many viruses. Allahu Akbar. Somebody is really intruding on us. They don't want us to speak about this topic, you see. So this is the definition that I have for you what a misconcept is. Misconception is. Nobody could read it for me? I don't have my reading glasses. I don't have my reading glasses. Huh?
Incorrect interpretation or understanding regarding a certain issue.
Certain issue, any issue. Sometimes you have wrong ideas, my colleague said, about any issue. It could be Islam, it could be Abdullah, it could be the mic, it could be the Jews, it could be anything. Okay, I think a person, I don't know anything else that you could do here. Huh? So, this is the topic that we'll go with today, inshallah. Before I go into it, Allahumma salli ala Rasulillah. What is the best way to give da'wah?
Silent da'wah?
What is the best way to give da'wah?
Practical demonstration. To interact with the people in the best way.
To interact with people in the best way. What else?
Good mother.
To give a good example, to be a good model as true Muslims. What else?
Trying to raise their interest.
To raise people's interest. What do you think of taking a misconcept today? Today, I'm going to talk about why people think Muslims believe in one God. Do you think it's a good way? I think it's a good topic. To invite people, you say, I'm going to talk about a lecture today. The title of that lecture, that talk is Moon God as viewed by non-Muslims. You think it's a good idea?
No, it's not a good idea.
Why?
Because maybe you don't think
We have not ever thought. So misconcepts are not good to raise as topics to talk about. Clear? So people, this is another problem that we get for in Dawah. Say today talk about why women in Islam should wear veil. Nobody asked you to talk about that. What people usually want to know is what Islam really is. The basics, the tenets of Islam are misunderstood by many Muslims, not to mention non-Muslims. So we agreed that misconcepts are not good topics to talk about in most situations, because people are not usually interested in misconcepts. They may ask about misconcepts. Then why we talk about them today? See, I put you in a trap. So,
to answer them in a best way.
okay, to acquire the technique through which we could really deal with misconcepts, because they're raised every day and while distracting people. Anything else? We are a call, we are dua. So you consider to be specialists, people who need to know about these things, equipped in how to deal with them. And this is a very huge topic, very complicated topic. Sometimes people disagree in how to deal with these issues. That's fine. But we know we should have a broad outline through which we handle these topics. معنا يا إخوان؟ اللي فوق ما تبصوش للي تحت. Okay? Let me see what they have. I keep forgetting these things. ما في حاجة أعملها click. History of misconceptions. طبعا today we'll give you a lot of theory. حاجة مملة شوية لكن. Did these misconcepts start with the Americans, with the Jews, with people from New York? No. So, old history. Not even the Qurayshis. But this is during the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But even before the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Ibrahim alayhi salam said, قال أنا وحي الموتى. He said, I bring dead people to life again. So these misconceptions were raised, even about Moses alayhi salam, about Ibrahim, about Noah. All those prophets were facing these misconceptions. So the history is very long. And here just give you from the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how many misconcepts the Qurayshis raised about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What did they say? Poet, sorcerer, liar, all kinds of misconcepts. How come rotten bones will come to life again? Inconceivable. You see? So they started doing all these misconcepts for many reasons. Some, they were, and look at the reasons. So the people in the Prophet ﷺ was in contact with almost everybody you think of. With Christians who came from Najran all the way to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, debating with him, raising all misconcepts with him. So it goes on, and this does not stop. Because people usually have this kind of prejudice about people they don't know, or they don't like, or have different kind of information about them. So we have misconceptions about each other. You see? So, what are the sources of contemporary misconceptions about Islam? I listed some. You may agree with me, you may disagree, you may add, you may subtract from them. But I think we have a number of misconceptions. Somebody is misinformed. I don't know. Tell me what this is. I don't know. I create all theories about it, but they may not be true. Behavior of some Muslims. Sometimes we blame others all the time. This is becomes our habit. Just like bad students. Say, the teacher does not teach well. Okay, they don't come on time. They don't speak English well. You get all these because we Muslims, in many situations, we're not the best example. We're not the best salesperson for Islam. Allah is very patient with us. We have one of his names is As-Sabur. Allah sabr. We don't really represent Islam in the best way. If you have a company and you sell watches, I see you have a very nice watch, okay? You have a company and they want me to work for you. But I don't wear these watches when I go, I wear a different type. Every time, and I can say, why don't you buy your... Say, I don't like. Forget about it, I just want to wear this. Will you allow me to work in a company?
No.
Go home. Many of us are doing this to Islam. I'll tell you a story that happened yesterday, or the day before yesterday, which is very sad. But it's good to know the situation. Sometimes it's easy to blame others for our wins, mistakes. You blame somebody else. Well, we are the best people. ما أبي الناس. كل اللي يقول إني قطع الديرة ها وليس مثلي بعسير. But anyway, اللهم صل على حبيب الله. So this man owes aluminum company, aluminum factory in Khamis. And somebody came to him, Assalamu alaikum. Tonight we have a meeting, we have a social gathering in the open, in Sana'iyya, you see. And we want the people who work with you to come. We have dinner, we welcome you as well to be there. Oh! ايش جابكم انتم؟ قال له اخونا كينا ندعو الى الله. This is my card and this is my job. I represent that place. Said I brought those people here to work, not to be invited to Islam. You imagine a Muslim saying that, and he's about 60-something years old, man. Imagine somebody doing that. So who's doing this service to Islam? Sometimes it's we. We are not really representing Islam in the right way. We distract people from Islam. You've got to be at the shoes of somebody else, like what's going on in Germany. This man, his name was Young something, you know, took 2 Americans, he shot them. Oh, we demolished the United States, is that true? We still have about 260 million Americans. Has that done anything to the Americans? What that would do to the Muslims in Germany, about 7 or 8 million Muslims, what's going to happen to them? Not only bad impression, many of them will be persecuted. People will make their life difficult, even if the law of that country allows you to practice freely. But people will look at you as an enemy, as a traitor. We brought you to our country, now they will generalize. This is when you make one mistake. And now with the media, everybody, and you know the media is really not friendly. It's not friendly, very hostile against Islam. They take small issue and make it big when it's against Muslims. And they cover good things, because this is an excellent book written by Edward Said. Have Edward Said? He's one of the great world intellectuals. He's American, by the way, from a Palestinian Christian origin. But he is among the best who wrote about Islam. And he has a very nice book called Covering Islam, how the media covers Islam. So sometimes our behavior is really, whenever somebody will say, hello, how are you doing, my brother? Oh, what's your name? Oh, you're a Muslim. Terrorists. Okay. We have worked some time to develop this sense. Yes, it has been generalized. It's not true. But you cannot take this misconcept from the minds of people easily. It's not as easy as that, because they see one practice, they generalize. Okay? So, Orientalists, you don't know what you know what Orientalists are? Mustashriqun. Okay, those are the people who study the East, the Muslims, and sometimes they get bad information. They write novels about how the Muslims behave, etc. We have motivated journalists, people who write like, you could name some journalists who write about Islam in a very negative way. Friedman, Thomas Friedman. Judith Miller, Bernard Lewis, and many others. Dr. Dawud, okay, those people. Do you know some journalists you think who's at least neutral, if not sympathetic, writing about Muslims and Islam, non-Muslims? Nobody?
Non-Muslim?
Non-Muslim who is sympathetic in his writing or her writings about Islam.
A Christian, Egyptian,
Zakaria Butros, he wrote a book about Islam. Okay, what's Jarudi is supposed to be a Muslim. طبعا he passed away anyway. You see how much we know? We need to know about our enemies and our friends as well. Yes? Yeah, sure. Then we have missionaries. What do you mean by missionaries? Yeah, some people. Do you have missionaries among us here? We caught many of these. Huh? Okay, we caught some people and they became Muslims. I'll give you a nice story so you'll feel how this deen could penetrate the hearts of people. Somebody by the name of Ricardo Mancilla came to this country. And he was tent maker. You know tent maker? Sayyar al-Khiyar. But he doesn't fix. This is a term that they have really كده احسن لي تعمل لي نوع من هذه الرياضه. فجزاك الله خير. For those tent makers, you know what tent makers are? They don't fix يسووا الخيام اخواننا السوريين ولا لا. Those مثل بدو الرحل. they come to this country or any other country as professionals, teachers, nurses, doctors, tailors, barbers. This man was cook, chief, يطبخ طباخ. He used to work in a hotel. He became a Muslim. He got the name of Ahmad Amin. He used to hold a church here in Sudan. Filipino. He used to hold a church in Sudan. Open church. Open air church. You go to Jum'ah, and he was able to change the church from Sunday to Jum'ah. No big deal. God spoke to him. Change your timing. Another Filipino came from the Philippines. He was a physiotherapist. A physiotherapist. I go to physiotherapist until I get tired of him. Okay? So, he went. This physiotherapist, he came to visit him one day. His name, Muhammad Amin from the Philippines. He gave him some books, started speaking to him. This man became a Muslim. But what surprise was that this man, can I put my foot here? When this man became a Muslim, his name now Salingahai. His name is Ismail Salingahai. He got the name Ismail. When they spoke to him, said, "What did you do here? What do you want to do?" He said, "I have, what do you call it, a double degree, parallel degree. One in physiotherapy and one in theology, Christian missionary." And he was helped to come to this country. Why? He said, "We work with people who do a lot of sport." Okay? هذول الشباب صح ولا لا؟ And they were sent to those people. Before him we had one who became Muslim who was a tailor. So الشباب yeah. And barber كثرة الحلاقة لكن عندنا. But they know the kind of jobs they send people to. What's really interesting about Salingahai معي يا اخوان؟ الشيخ ابو عماد صحصح معي اخوات اسمعوني زين اللهم صل على رسول الله صلوا على النبي يا جماعه. He said, "I never thought of becoming a Muslim because I had a mission. But I want to tell you something." So this. He said, "Before I came to Saudi Arabia, in the Philippines, my pastor said, Salingahai, be careful of Ricardo Manasela. Be careful of Ricardo Manasela." You know who Ricardo Manasela is? He said, "I am Ricardo Manasela." He was really stumped. I'll tell you why mission is. Sometimes ignorance. What is the most misunderstood religion in the whole world? Islam. What's the most widespread religion in the world? Did you see some kind of an irony here? It is. If it were for us, Islam would have not spread at all. Because everybody almost misunderstands. How can you accept something that you misunderstand? You know, paradox. But this is the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we work in a very successful team with a very successful leader, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, for the most successful mission. When we realize that, that gives us a lot of zeal, enthusiasm, and support. Atheists, تعرفون atheists too. You know atheists? ملحدون. Okay? Oh. اللهم صل على عبد الله. So here we'll talk about methods of refuting misconceptions. How do we deal with misconceptions? How do you deal with misconceptions? I have a list here, but don't depend on my list, because my list is very short, and it is mine, it's not yours. How Quranic verses could refute misconceptions? The first one is, if you take this misconception that Brother Yusuf wrote, which is, they believe that saying The God of the Arabs is different from the God of the Jews, God of the Christians, gods of the rest of the world. They call it God Moon. This is the God of the Arabs. They used to worship it before Islam and they continued worshipping it. And Muhammad called for that. It's a specific God for the Arabs. So if you're Pakistani, if you're Indian, if you're Sri Lankan, if you're American, it's not your, this is God for the Arabs. I don't know if I'm a genuine Arab or not. Okay, anyway. So how Quranic verses could really help us to deal with this misconception? Just how can you refute this with a Quranic verse? How can Quran? Come on, wake up. يا أخي التكييف بردنا ترى. No, I'm kidding. صدق أخوي. أمزح معك. How can you refute this by the Quran? Yes. Yeah, but here he's talking about God one. God one. تسجدوا, don't prostrate to the sun or to the moon. وش بعدها؟ واسجدوا لله الذي خلقهن, and prostrate to Allah who created them. You see, you could refute that in the Quran. Say, come on, here the Quran does not say that. You could say, قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد. You see? So this is one way to refute that. Or you could tell them, okay, we do that, but I want you to find a place for us in the Quran. This is our book, where it tells us to. And brother, beautiful verse, to the point. That was not in mind, so it was not in mind. I tell you, we can sometimes come up with different things. Let's go to the other one. The Quran, in many occasions, the Quran could work in that sense, but I just gave you one example to look for the sources. Because there is something with misconcepts that is endless. Misconcepts are endless. Every day there are misconcepts that are created. People developing the technology, then they start communication. The old ones may disappear, and you have new ones. So it is a kind of flourishing kind of dynamic as well. So incidents from the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Some people would say, hey, come on. You Muslims dislike Jews. You're anti-Semite. You know anti-Semite?
Yes.
What is it, anti-Semite? Mu'adul al-Sami. We are Semites, aren't we? You're not. How can I be anti myself? But this is a misconception that some people were able to raise. That it's only the Jews that are Semitic, Semite, okay? And I'm Sami. And the Arabs, وحنا مساكين ويقضى لهم we're not there. Anyway, how can you refute this statement from the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? You see, you Islam and Muslims dislike Jews. Okay, this could be. This what else?
Prophet visited to a sick man.
Okay, the Prophet ﷺ, before that, when he went to Medina, were there Jews?
Yes.
Did he wipe them out, kick them out of Medina?
No.
What did he do with them?
Treaty.
He gave them full citizenship of the Muslim state at that time. And a treaty was signed with them. They are the ones who committed treason against him. Anyway, you could go, there is a very interesting story that is documented. I'm telling you, sometimes people say, oh, these are your sources, we don't accept them.
Yeah.
This is expected later on, but I'm telling you, I'm going you one step by step. Sometimes people take that. See, did that take place? You say, yes. You have authentic text. This is the hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is how it's collected. This is how it's authenticated. And this is sahih, sound. Some people when they have the time to read, to understand how hadith is compiled, they will come to accept this. Okay? Come to accept this. I don't want to go into stories. Well, is it okay? لمتى وقتنا احنا؟ ترى انا بروح اليوم. 6 خلاص؟
لا بعد الصلاة.
My legs will break before the break comes. Okay? اللهم صل على عبد الله. So there is an incident that might bring, but some people may accept, some people may not. أصلاً يهود اليمن, they will accept. You know that idea when the Jewish man came, the debtor, when he came to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he pulled him by his right. And Umar was there. Umar did not like that. You know what kind of person Umar was. The Prophet said, Umar, take it easy. He said, give me my money back. He said, go along with him, Umar, and give him his money. But he took Umar's ear and whispered on it. يا أخي خطيرة اللقطة دي يا شفت كيف اللهم صل على محمد صلوا على رسول الله. So he whispered in Umar's ear. Umar took the Jew and he gave him the money and he said, this is extra. He said, why you give me extra? And he wanted to kill me a minute ago. He said, not me. Prophet Muhammad said, I scared you and he's giving you this extra money to compensate what I did for you. Is there any justice like that? What did the Jewish man say? Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. This can be the manners of a prophet one day. And Umar had to comply, had to fulfill, had to answer the orders of Prophet Muhammad. Scholars' discussions. One man came to Mu'adh. You know Mu'adh? It was at Mu'adh, forget, I'm sorry. One day the companions were passing by Palestine and they went to a monastery. You know monastery? A place where monks stay or bath. But the monk went down. They came to him. He said, what do you want? He said, do you have any among you from the companions of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? He said, yes. We think we have. Look for somebody. It was Abdullah Mas'ud. Then the monk said, now I'm going to raise a very strong misconception. See those people? A bomb to explode everybody else. Most of those people were new Muslims. And their iman may not be as that of the companions. And he wanted to hit the strongest. So he said, Abdullah Mas'ud, you are? He said, yes, I'm. He said, you were the companion of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He said, yes, I was the companion of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. اللهم صل على عبد الله. الله يجمعنا بهم في الجنة يا اخوان. He said to him, I want to ask you a question. He said, yes, ask. He said, I want to challenge you. He said, I'm a poor shepherd that Allah brought me up with Islam. Well, أنا كنت إيش؟ ضوعي بلا طرد المعزة. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevated me with Islam. He said, are you going to take my question? He said, yes. He said, you say the people of paradise don't go to the bathroom? He said, yes indeed. He said, do they eat? He said, yes they did. He said, do you drink? He said, yes they do. He said, why don't they go to the bathroom then? Can't you eat and drink and you go to the bathroom? This is not acceptable. How would you respond? You see, this is a misconception. Hundreds of people, thousands probably people along with Abdullah Mas'ud. And this monk is staying there and giving this misconception. How are you going to deal with it?
Fetus in the womb.
You heard this before. Okay, go there. No, please. No, please.
What's the answer?
Okay. He was right. Abdullah Mas'ud did not hesitate for a second. Because وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ اللَّهُ. You fear Allah, Allah will teach you. It's not will. Allah teaches you. Abdullah Masud, he smiled with that beautiful smile. And I said, what do you think of the fetus in his or her mother's womb? Is it nourished? He said, yes. He said, where does it go?